So I don't know how to start this video, so I'm just gonna kind of start talking. Basically, as you can see by the title, on Friday, November 18th, my younger brother Dan passed away. Um, he was 23 and he died of a drug overdose, and that's kind of been the reason I've been away for the last while. And so before I could really come back to YouTube, I need to make a video to kind of talk about the subject. Um, I've always for a long time I've wanted to make a video talking about addressing drug addiction. Um, Something I don't know too much personally about as I have not experienced it, of course, but witnessing it kind of through my brother. To be honest, I don't even know what to say in this video, I guess. Really, I don't know about too much of the experiences that my brother had gone through because he always kind of hid um, the struggles he was going through. Like, we knew he had a drug problem. It's something he had struggled with for 10 years, and we had always done whatever we could to try and help him, but he always hid what he was actually really going through to try and not let us see that he was suffering. Um, Obviously, I want to say don't do drugs. Just don't. Just the easiest time to say no is the first time. Once you say yes the first time, then you become confident, and you think the second time when you're offered any drugs, then you think, oh, the first time wasn't that bad, or it was fun, I'm not going to become addicted. And then you do it again, and then again, and again, and then you do become addicted. And then when you're not having those drugs in your system, it becomes more and more difficult to get away from them the more and more you try. And that's kind of what happened to my brother. I remember him always getting in fights with my mom about this and saying no, I'm not going to get fucking addicted. And he did. I think what I'm wanting to talk about is that drug addiction and drug addicts aren't what we think they are exactly. There's this stigma around it that we think, oh, there's some low drug addict or something. They're just some loser or something like that. But you don't know that the struggle that they are going through, and I myself, I guess I can't really say too much as well because I don't know what my brother was going through. I know that it was a struggle, and my brother was a great person. Um After he passed, I was hearing from so many people. The funeral, I couldn't believe how many people there were. They actually had to fill up, add an additional room to opening up a wall and adding more space. There's so many people that have been touched by my brother that he would always do whatever he could to help people, no matter what sacrifice it was to himself. He would give up so much to help others. And at the same time, because of his addiction, there's times where he did absolutely terrible things. Well, okay, terrible is exaggerating, but bad things. Never hurting anybody, or anything like that, but he's stolen from people. He's stolen from me and my mother many times, selling our stuff to pawn shops and whatnot. I can't count the number of times I've had to buy back my own property. And, but even though he did stuff like this, he hated himself for doing that to people. He hated ever hurting or upsetting someone. He was so concerned with others being happy and would always do what he could to help them. But because of his addiction, um, he'd always have to find a way to get his next fix. Um, Even when it went going against things that he stood for and or against. It's easy for others to always think oh, a drug addict they can just quit. That's just easy, and that it's just quitting something easier. I don't know, quitting drinking pop maybe, and it's nothing like that. And I'm guilty of that myself. I had gone in so many fights with my brother, and I've even said some terrible things to my brother when we get in fights, and I hate myself for that so much. But the thing is, we don't know the struggle that people are going through, and it's not even just talking in general about anyone suffering from addiction, but that's everyone that you meet. It's cheesy to say, but just be nice to others, or you don't even have to be nice, just don't be a dick. You never know what others are going through. Like 2016 for me, everyone's going off about 2016 because of celebrity deaths or Trump or shit like that, and it's like 2016 for me, fuck. You don't even know. Like there was my brother's drug addiction. There was my mom losing her job. I'm the only one still in the house with an income. And there's been all this stress and just shit at work, and just so much has been happening in my life this last year that like at work when I have customers complaining about shit, I just want to like yell at them and be like, I wish I had your problems. I wish that like, oh, we were out of stock of something that you want and that's your biggest problem in your life right now that you're getting a hissy fit over. I wish I had simple problems like that. For me, what I want 2017 to be, I want it to be dull. I want nothing special. I just want it to just pass and just be a year. I don't need anything special. I just need not to be shit. Like you don't know what people are going through, and like even the simplest thing as like holding a bloody door for someone can make someone's day. And I know that because for me that has made my day at times. Just people doing simple things, even just when like someone helps you, just sincerely saying a thank you, not just a simple oh thanks. It's just like thank you for helping me out today. Even just hearing that back is something that like feels so good, and it's just like just don't be a dick to people. It's as simple as that. I don't know. Like if you know someone that is struggling with addiction, it is a very difficult thing to watch because really there's not too much you can do personally. Me and my mom tried so hard with my brother to try and keep him clean and keep him safe and away from things, and it was difficult. I mean, he'd be sneaking out at night or whatever. Like, one of us would always almost have to be up and watching him to try and keep him away from stuff. And you can't do that all the time. Um, but what you can do is be there for them, and it's a difficult thing because with my brother, like my mom, I know had tried kind of like the tough love a bit, and but like I'm guilty of that as well. And it's like you that works and doesn't work because one of the things is so story as starting in October, my brother was in a rehab center in Toronto, and um one of his last messages on Facebook, um, I managed to get his Facebook so I could see his messages. The Monday on the week that my brother passed away, he was kicked out of the rehab center because someone else was being kicked out and my brother was standing up for them. And so they kicked him out as well. And so, unknown to us, he was kicked out and he had actually come back to town but was staying with friends. And one of his last messages to another one of his friends was saying something along the lines where he was afraid to come home because he was afraid of disappointing us. And reading that was the hardest thing ever because it's like if he had come home, it wouldn't have happened and he'd still be here. And it's all because he was afraid of disappointing us, and the reality is he could never have disappointed me. I like there were times that I was pissed off at my brother. There were times I was annoyed with him. He's my little brother, of course. That's what little brothers do. They're supposed to piss you off and annoy you. Um and but like no matter what, no matter when he sold my Xbox or whatever, I still loved him. And there was nothing that he could have ever done that would have changed that. Um, and so that's kind of the part where the tough love work thing doesn't work because the person struggling, you cannot beat them up when they're down. You cannot do that. Um, because then they punish them like they're already beating themselves up. They're doing that enough. You don't need to punish them. I mean, obviously don't support a drug problem, but don't exactly punish or disown someone because of it. because that when they lose their family, when they lose their support, when they lose their friends, then they have nothing else to fall onto, no one to help keep them, pull them back up, and so it's just them beating themselves up and beating themselves up and beating themselves up until they fall down and can't get back up, and then they just keep spiraling down until they possibly overdose and pass away because of it. And that unfortunately is what happened to my brother. Is he was kicked out of that place and he was afraid to come home, and although at that point he was 3 months clean, he got a hold of heroin again, and he was in a friend's car at night alone and overdosed and wasn't found until the morning. And it's because of that that he's gone. There were so many times in the past where my brother had overdosed, and thankfully myself or my mom were always around, and like I can't even count the number of times that I've saved my brother's life. I remember one day specifically where I stay up until 6 a.m. Like that's when I go to bed, and I usually wake up, especially on a day off, after 3. But this one day I had woken up earlier at 1 and I couldn't fall back asleep. And I found my brother overdosed. And had I slept in, he would have died that day. But thankfully, somehow I always am able to remain calm in situations like that where my mom would be panicking and not be able to do what she needed to be doing at that time. I was always able to keep calm, immediately be calling the 911 and stepping my mother through like what we need to do on our end until they arrive. And like I remember one time as well, where my mom was away, and so it was just me and my brother home, and one of his friends had come over, and while I was downstairs, down here on my computer, my brother starts screaming, and I come upstairs, and his friend is on the ground. She is overdosing, and my brother is freaking out. And I saved that girl's life, and she was like the love of my brother's life. Although they weren't together, like he loved her more than anything. And now she has a kid, and like it's crazy to think that neither of those two would exist if it weren't for me and if I weren't able to keep calm in situations like that. But I don't know, I'm kind of going off track a bit, but I don't know. I guess what I want to say mostly is just don't do drugs. Do not. It's not worth it. The temporary high is not worth the suffering. Because addiction doesn't just end because like you're a year clean, a 2 year clean. I've read messages from people who are 20 years clean and they still have to constantly keep on top of themselves and making sure that they continue to stay clean. It's a constant thing. It does not stop. It's not just like quitting smoking or something where like after a while you're good, you're done. It's done, it's over with. You're no longer an addict. You're an addict for life. And that temporary high is not worth that. It does not matter if everyone else in the room is doing it. Do not. A real friend should not be pressuring you into doing something like that. And like you should also try, like I don't know. It's hard not to like that's the thing is like basically you can show people the door but they have to be the ones to walk through, and that's kind of what it is with drug addiction is you can only be there to try and help people, but it's really in the end up to them to take the steps. And that's the hardest part is you're just kind of stuck there on the sidelines watching as everything's happening and you feel helpless. But just being there for people, and this doesn't even go fall under just like anyone struggling with drug addiction, just be there for the people around you and like tell the people you care about that you love them. I don't care if it's awkward to tell your best friend that like, "Hey guy, I love you." It like you don't want to regret not saying it, because the last time I talked to my brother was just a brief phone call, and I know like I was like because I did hold a grudge against my brother because of stuff that he'd done to me, that like in the recent years me and him had grown more distantly apart. And so I wasn't the type of person to tell my brother, "Oh, I love you, bro," or like be hugging him and whatnot. He was always the one forcing the hugs on me. Um, but you don't want to, like, I'm not saying treat every bye with someone as though it's going to be the last. You don't want to be thinking about that all the time. But treat it like it's not something that you'll regret looking back on. Don't keep grudges against people. Don't worry, care about drama. Drama is nothing. It's over petty shit that in the grand scheme doesn't matter at all. So anyway, that's just something I wanted to talk about. Um, because there's no way I was just gonna come back to YouTube, start making gaming videos, and be all happy-go-lucky, like nothing's ever happened. Um, I mean, while time has passed and it's gone, it sounds wrong to say, but easier to deal with or accept. I don't know. Losing someone is kind of almost like the best way I can think to compare it is almost like losing a limb. Because, like, imagine your arm being gone, just, it's gone. At first, it's going to be a huge struggle, and you'll be mourning, and you'll be thinking, how am I supposed to go on with my life? How am I supposed to do anything anymore? And over time, you'll teach yourself how to live without that limb. And eventually, you'll come to accept it, but at the same time, nothing can ever replace it. Whether you have like a prosthetic or anything, it's never going to be the same. A part of you is always going to be missing, and right now, a part of me is missing, and it will never be something that will ever heal, will ever really get better. It's just something that you'll be able to continue life on because what I want, like, I know my brother wouldn't want me or my mom or anyone to be sad, and but at the same time, like I feel guilty when I do things and I'm having fun, or when I get pissed off at little things, like I'm playing a game and someone kills me and I get rage, and it's like, really? This is what you're getting pissed off over? This is nothing. It's trivial. Like I feel stupid getting pissed off over anything else now. Um, but that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. So the next, anyways, I will be back to daily uploading now. I think it's the next two or three videos are videos that were recorded prior to my brother's death. So they're old videos, and I'm going to try and continue off where I was. For now, there'll be single videos per day. I'll eventually maybe get back to two videos whenever I feel up to that. Um, and yeah. At the end of this video in a moment, I'm going to be including um, the video I'd made for my brother's visitation. Basically, just a bunch of pictures from throughout his life. Mostly, this is just so like his friends and my family can go and see this video whenever they'd like. You're free to watch if you want, no pressure. It's 20 minutes long, so yeah. But it's mostly just there, I guess, so I have somewhere to keep it online where I know that it's never gone. But anyways, so yeah, don't do drugs, make good choices, stay in school. I'm stealing that quote from someone to shout for from an old YouTube channel, but thank you guys for watching. I'll be making videos again soon. Like, well, tomorrow in the next couple days, I'll be having those old videos come up, and then, yeah, we'll be back to normal, I guess, ish. Um, but yeah, bye.
would shiver the whole night through. Her husband was a hard-working man, just about a mile from here. His head was found in a driving wheel, but his body never was found. My girl, don't lie to me. Tell me, where did you sleep last night? In the pines, where the sun don't ever shine. I would shiver the whole night through. Shiver for me. My girl, where will you go? I'm going where the cold wind blows. In the pines, where the sun don't ever shine. I would shiver the whole night through. My girl, don't lie to me. Tell me, where did you sleep last night? In the pines, where the sun don't ever shine. I would shiver the whole night through. My girl, where will you go? I'm going where the cold wind blows. In the pines, sun, the shine, I shiver. Oh, night through.
That looks so cute. Look at the way she sits there.
Yeah. Yeah, look at it.
I didn't know how.